Hi, this is Christine Smith, and this is my instructional design project presentation. The performance context. For this instructional design, just some background information. The instruction design is based around the course of music theory. This course is offered to students in grades 9 through 12, so that means the age of the students is roughly from 14 to 18 years of age. For this class, it is part of a pathway for the performing arts pathway. Every student in the school needs to have a pathway before they graduate high school, and they need to claim a pathway. So this can be taken, or music literacy 2 can be taken, but the prereq for this course is music literacy 1. This pathway has been changed this year, so I still have students that have not taken music literacy 1. There has been confusion about the prerequisites for this course, so it's a little rocky this year, but hopefully everybody will know that the prerequisite for music theory is music literacy 1. The goal of our instruction is that students will be able to perform and construct major and minor chords. So why did I choose this goal? I chose this goal because if students are able to reach this goal, it shows that they have an understanding of music literacy, are able to read music as well as play music. They have an understanding and some piano skills, some work with the keyboard, and also they can, it shows that they have developed their oral skills and are able to hear and classify chords and intervals based on listening. So it's developing their ear training as well, this goal. This is my instructional design diagram. You see I have the instructional goal up here at the top. These are separate goals that will eventually lead to the overall instructional goal. So in order to get to the overall instructional goal of playing major and minor chords with correct fingerings, as well as able to identify and construct the chords on staff paper, we have the students have to be able to draw and identify notes on the musical staff, either in the treble or the bass clef. Also draw major and minor chords on staff paper and perform major and minor chords on the keyboard. And then these are the different skills and aspects that lead up to the first goal here. So students will be able to describe the differences between treble and bass clef, identify notes in the treble, bass clef, know the construction of the musical staff. So you can see the scaffolding process that we have here. The physical space of our learning environment are on the next pages, and this is very important to see for this instructional design plan. So here's the layout of our room. You can see we have a good sized keyboard lab. There are 16 total keyboards, which gives students the opportunity to play the keyboards by themselves. They can put headphones on and then they can hear themselves playing. So it's great for them to be, working solo on their instruction and working towards this goal. This is the front of the room, so it's a smart board up at the front, so we can project work up onto the smart board so the entire class to see. Not a whole lot to look at, not a very attractive room, but this is where the class is held. For my instructional strategy, one of our goals is being able to identify intervals, both orally and visually. So I give these students this chart of their intervals. It's got every interval, and the chart will also have the number of half steps, which is helpful when identifying what interval is on the page or what interval they are playing. An easy way to do that is count the number of half steps. If there's one half step, it's always a minor second. If there's two half steps, it's always a major second. Three is minor third, so on and so forth. And then the last aspect we have of our chart is when we are orally trying to identify intervals, songs come into play. So how can you identify a perfect unison? Happy birthday at the beginning, that's a perfect unison. Happy birthday. And then minor second, how can you identify a minor second? Well, minor second sounds like the Jaws theme. So there's different songs that correlate with each of these intervals that the students, it helps the students identify what the intervals are. When I play it, then they can tell me what it is. Different assessments we have for this instructional goal. Written assessments, which I'll show you an example of on the next page. Performance aspects. Students need to be able to demonstrate their skill on the keyboard, playing intervals melodically, harmonically, separately, together, demonstrating that skill. Also, there are oral assessments. Can they identify the interval or the chords that I am playing just by hearing them? This is an example of a written assessment. It's an activity out of our Essentials in Music Theory Alfred workbooks. This one is identifying major and minor intervals. That's what it's talking about. So this is the step before we would talk about the chords. We have to talk about the intervals first. So it's got some basic fill in the blank kind of definition answers. And then there's some application and drilling, if you will, where they're having to make a major interval into a minor interval, and we do that by making the interval smaller. So they're rewriting the top note and making it a minor interval, and that's where the chart also comes in being helpful, because they can just count the number of half steps and it'll give them a surefire answer. And then down here they're indicating whether the interval is a major or a minor. And then they have to write the upper note in these various intervals. So that is my design plan. I am glad this assignment requires so much detail for an instruction plan. It helps by showing the breakdown of objectives, materials, assessments, both pre and post, as well as thinking critically about how a unit's lesson should flow for the overall benefit of the students. This instructional design is in line with several national music education standards. Number 1, performing on instruments alone and with others, a varied repertoire of music. And number 5, reading and notating music. It is important to know the layout of each unit and the lessons within. However, this detailed process is not as practical for teachers. I can see writing it out once and having it ready to go for future classes. That way, it can be easily modified for classes. Over time, a teacher knows just by writing in their lesson plan book what to do for the lesson and unit, but no teacher is going to sit and do this for every single lesson every year. I know in my experience with teaching this course as well that students differ greatly from year to year, and the same teaching strategies, assessments, and requirements may not work for every class. With students ranging from grades 9 through 12, there are a lot of various age groupings that can be productive but also disruptive sometimes. Some classes may work better performing, while another prefers to write answers for their assessment.